Hello everybody, my name's Fire, and welcome to another video on Conan Exiles. So the Age of War Chapter 3, this has brought some really interesting things such as a tavern system, a PvE siege system, and a bunch of sneaky little changes in the patch notes as well that I didn't go over yet, but today I'm going to rectify that so you guys can see what changes they've made to Conan Exiles in this actual chapter. But what they didn't really go over in the dev stream was the nitty-gritty details, one of them being spear animations have changed completely. That is a massive change right now. That is different. But it's only different on a certain set. So the new spears that have a special moveset is the Spire, the Reach of the Warrior, Nikosi's Pike, Pike of Prince Craxus, War Spear of the Black Circle, Spear of the Grey Ones, and the Kingslayer Polearm. All of these special pikes have a unique moveset now. So I decided to test them out and have a go. So with the usual spears, if you played around with them in the old version, they would do the usual pokey with the light attack, and then you'd do the full stab with the heavy attack. But when you switch over to the Test Live build, it does a completely different attack with this swinging kind of animations and all of that. Now, one thing I will say about these, when I tried these in combat with the new ones, they don't seem to be very good at staying on target when you're trying to target something. So it feels kind of difficult to use it unless you're using the kind of crutch of auto target. Which is fair enough for people like that, but for players that don't like using auto targets, such as myself, I do not like that at all. So it makes it quite difficult to use unless you are using auto target. Apart from that though, the heavy attack seems to be really good because it applies loads of cripple, and it also does some bleed effect on the end if you get a full combination. One weird thing I did notice though is on the light one, on its end hit, it does show red, which would imply it should apply bleed, but it doesn't seem to. So I think they still got some ironing out to do right there. It's not quite perfect yet. Another big change is they decided after all these years to make T1 furnaces cost half the amount that they used to. So they always used to cost 500 stone. Now they cost 250. Now I'm all for this change, you know, it's fine. Like, it is the first furnace you ever get and you have to craft it pretty early on. So I do wonder what made them change the cost so randomly, but it's cheaper now either way. So if you start new playthroughs, I mean, that's something nice to have. Something I also noticed is recycling is going to be way more worth it now than it used to be, especially when it comes to pressing oil items. So if you didn't know, you can press things like fish and oil in your fluid press and you can get oil out of it, but it would always only give you one. Well, now it has a minimum of 2, so you always get 2 out of your items for the same crafting cost. So now you can get some more oil via recycling, so it will be worth recycling your fish or your spare seeds that you get when you go out and farm. They've also done a similar thing for Icar, so it will actually use less resources to produce in a fluid press. So when I tested this out, instead of taking 50 putrid meat to make 1 Icar, it only took 25, so yep, pretty much halved it. So that's quite nice. So the fluid press is going to get a little bit more using from me, definitely. I always like to recycle my items into here. That's one nice thing about the fluid press. It's something to get some spare stuff from, and it's always very handy early game, especially when it comes to getting your first bits of oil before you get all the thralls and the stuff in the stations that you need for the maximum amount of oil you'll be able to get. Another massive change, in the previous version, Cannibal brutes were really quite strong. They were ×6 damage modifier, which made them one of the strongest and above berserkers for strength. I wasn't very fan of them because they were a bit like a glass cannon to me, but some people really like them. But now they will not be as worth it because they have been halved once again, because I assume this was probably a mistake in the beginning anyway, to have them this high when they tamed out. So they are now ×3 instead of ×6 when it comes to the damage modifier, so they are not going to hit as hard as before. So if you are the fan of Cannibal Brute, you may want to consider switching back to that berserker. Another change they have done, which is a bit of an unusual one, but I mean, why not, I guess. This is very random though. So basically, this is the were hyena guy you would talk to. Either way, they say in the patch notes when you talk to this guy, he's not really supposed to teach you the potion of midnight anymore that takes you to the Midnight Grove, but he still crafts it for some reason. That's what they put in the patch notes anyway. They're saying it's supposed to come from this now, this, whatever this is going on here, the Midnight Grove, so they made it look more like, I guess, the entranceway. They're probably not finished on this, maybe it was one of those late additions, I guess. That's what they say. This station will be the only place you can craft the potion in the future, and this is the station. So I guess, yeah, you can buy it off this guy, you craft it in here if you learn it. So if you want to craft it, you have to come to here. So actually, no, him having it does make sense for purchase, but if you want to make it as such, yeah, you'd have to bring it here, and I guess build it here with the stuff that you have. So there you go, I guess. Another change is legendary loot will no longer drop from Azura's or the Sorcery Cave chests. So if you're getting your legendaries from these low tier caves, they will not be a thing in the future. Also in here, they have lowered the food drops that come out of whites. Well, they're completely removed from whites. And they have lowered the food drop chances from NPCs in general. So you should get different items rather than food drops when it comes out of NPCs. So hopefully you'll get a bit better stuff coming out of them instead of just like a steak and some random bugs. Ymir's Targe also grants properly cold resistance instead of heat resistance, which it was really weird that this gave heat resistance being Ymir at all. But now it does the proper thing, 3 bars of cold protection. Apart from that, when we have a look at the patch notes, they have fixed a bunch of those custom storage containers containing proper things now. So for example, skinning storage will take all hides and fur. Foraging storage will also accept all seeds and vines and coral, etc. Just nice QOL things like that. Also, something I forgot to mention is resurrected corpse can no longer be affected by bleeding or poison status, which is pretty nice if you do like having a zombie. So there you go. That will be very nice. But apart from that, animations and all that, it seems to be that is pretty much the tweaks that they did do, as well as leashing and aggro tweaks, etc. And just nitty-gritty ones here and there from what I have seen. Another one someone might be interested in as well is the blood crystal weapon crafting cost has been unified and now costs 50% of the normal main material, iron and star metal, and 50% blood crystal. So there you go. If that's any interest to you, if you kind of like that stuff, then yeah. But apart from that, some nice fixes here and there. And of course the new additions which have come along and we have talked about and we will do more videos about in the very more future. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this whole patch and how are you liking Chapter 3. Apart from that, my name's Big Kaya and thank you for watching. I love you and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!